that desire to travel, it never ends. The idea of being able to get to Australia real fast is pretty darn exciting. Our mission is to make it easier for everybody to experience the world. Well, if the world isn't worth experiencing, that's not going to be good for travel.
Welcome to The Big Question, a series from Euronews where we speak to some of the most influential people in the world of business. And today, I'm joined by the CEO of Booking.com, Glenn Fogel. Glenn, it's an absolute pleasure to have you with us on The Big Question. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Glenn, we have a lot to talk about, but first of all, in your view, is sustainable travel really possible, or is it just greenwashing?
Sustainability is, first of all, it's critical for the future of our industry. You know, our mission is to make it easier for everybody to experience the world. Well, if the world isn't worth experiencing, that's not going to be good for travel. So we need to absolutely do our part, and we believe we are a leader in helping to create solutions for this. Small accommodation, they see some of the regulations, some of the issues of sustainability, they say, I can't afford that. Well, we do what we can, our part, to help them understand how they can do things to actually make them more profitable and what steps they can do that are both good for the earth, good for the planet, and good for their bottom line. And we work with them to do that. I think it's very important.
And Glenn, I want to talk to you about your competition within the industry. Expedia, Airbnb, for example. What's the one thing that you wish competitors like them would stop doing?
The competition is not just people like Expedia or Airbnb,
Smaller
or the
SMEs.
biggest one, Trip.com, which is actually a huge player from China. A lot of people don't know that. But it's actually, for example, Google's a competitor. In fact, by far the biggest travel player in the world. Our suppliers, like the hotels, we work together, we're partners. But I assure you, every single hotelier would prefer that somebody came to their hotel not through Booking.com, but went direct. So actually, the competitive set is a huge, wide variety of different players. And what we should do is continue to improve our services for both sides of the marketplace. We have two customers. We have the obvious customer, who's the traveler, who comes here to get what they need for their travel needs. Our other customer, the partner, the supplier. It's the accommodation. It is the rental car company. It's the flight. These are the people that we deal with, and we need to provide value to them too, particularly the small and medium-sized players who don't have the technological ability, they don't have the skill, they don't have the capital, they don't have the resources. We provide these services to them. We translate into 40 different languages so hotels can get customers from around the world and not have to worry that they can't speak the language. We provide payments. We do all these things. We don't charge anything. The only thing we say is, if we put a customer into your accommodation and you get revenue because somebody stayed in your hotel, we would like to get a commission. That's a great model. It works for all of us.
Glenn, what about over-tourism? You know, we've seen in the last few months some countries, wanting tourists to stay away. What's your view on that?
Well, it is an interesting problem because on the one hand, we want to have economic growth. We want to have jobs, and we want to be able to have a growing economy. On the other hand, if you live in some of these cities, and particularly in the summer high tourist periods, people say, wait a minute, this is crazy. I live here and I can't get around, so it's a balance. And this is something that a lot of the local governments are struggling with.
Tourist taxes is an interesting one, isn't it? Is it something that has impacted Booking.com and choices that maybe consumers are making when they're booking where they want to go now?
Well, I don't think the tourist taxes are high enough yet to make a difference to really impact somebody. If you're going to spend thousands of euros on a holiday and you have an extra 10 euros or 12 euros, or, that's not going to make much of a change. But it is interesting. So I just recently went to a place far away from Europe. I went to the Galapagos. And to go there,
Nice.
It's a $200 just to go in, that it goes directly to the government. Now, does that discourage people from going to the Galapagos? I don't think so. It's very expensive to go to begin with. But what it does do is helps fund all the things that they need to do in the Galapagos to maintain its pristine nature area.
And also, Glenn, interestingly, I saw that, the launch of private jets for ultra luxury travelers, is that something Booking.com is going to be adopting as well?
I said a little while ago, I said how we like to provide anything for who wants to travel. That's not something that we do, and we have no plan to do it. It's a very, very small segment. I mean, tiny. You can't even see it. It's so small. And the next thing is, it's not very sustainable. It's not a great thing. So that will not be an area we're going into.
And Glenn, I just want to ask you as well about the future of travel. Are we going to see hypersonic travel in say, the next decade?
Next decade, I doubt it. But it's interesting. So many years ago, and I'm old enough to actually remember it, there actually was supersonic transport. And you could travel from London or Paris to New York or Washington, D.C., and you could go on to the Concorde. And you could do supersonic travel. So the actual speed that you fly is less now than it was when you could go on that. But the future, right now there are new supersonic transports that are being tested and coming out. But what's really interesting in the future is not supersonic, but hypersonic. And where you actually are going into the edge of space. And you'll be able to do a trip from, say, London to Australia in a fraction of the time it takes now to do that. Now, will it happen or not? Who knows? Part of the issue is sustainability. I don't know the answers to that. I do know, though, the idea of being able to get to Australia real fast is pretty darn exciting.
So would that be the wildest travel trend Booking.com is betting on for the future, or is there something else?
Well, we're not betting on it, of course. We don't invest in hypersonic travel. We have no investment in that. If somebody is selling tickets for it, we certainly will want to put it into our inventory. Somebody wants to buy it, there will be somebody who can sell it. But really, the exciting things for me now is just seeing the joy of people post-COVID who now are able to do the things they so wanted to do and didn't know they were missing it until they weren't allowed to do it. And there'll be some years and some quarters will be better than others. There's no doubt about that. And there will be recessions in the future and people may be a little tighter and not want to travel as far or spend as much. But that desire to travel, it never ends. And it's not just the holidays. It's seeing the grandchild that's born. It's the weddings. It's all the parts of life when you're separated. We become so separated. Yet the ability of travel to bring us back together, that's the beauty of this business, this industry. This industry makes the world better. And I'm glad to be part of it.
Glenn, thank you very much for the discussion, for your insights, and I'm very excited about hypersonic travel, and I really hope that happens in our lifetime. It will be quite wonderful.
I hope so too. It'll be fun.
Brilliant. Glenn, thanks very much for joining us on The Big Question. It's been an absolute pleasure.